Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Uncommon,
Hi.
and that's Shazam Proof coming into speakers as well as my ears. Hello, and welcome to Delving in Deep, where we build
You
ourselves.
were gonna put a question mark at the end of that.
This is
I
not the question
felt
mark
you
episode.
resisting.
There's not the question mark episode. You can't
I felt you
look.
resisting.
I know that people love it and they wait for it. But it's like a drum solo. It can't all be highs. Sometimes you got to dip down low to something calming and soothing and normal, where the space that they're used to existing in, and then you got to come back crashing in with a question mark later on when they're not expecting it, and you just got to roar really loudly at them, and they have no idea it was coming. All right.
Oh man.
So, this show is about building worlds and friendship.
I was like wondering where you were going with that, and not where I was expecting it.
See, again, you got to hit him with those highs and those lows, Tom. It's basic conversational comedy. One of us tells jokes, bad ones, good ones, and the other one laughs at all of them. All of them. God damn it, Tom!
Was that a joke? Oh.
I do my best. So yeah, we have some stuff to go over. We have some things we're going to talk about today. Last episode, we went into the greater details, and I'm going to go ahead and pull us into my center screen. Oh, excuse me. And as you can see, there's a lot going on here. There are some excellent icons on the map depicting, Skyrim races, the elves, some dwarves. There's even a gnome with a pointy hat. We drew some red lines on the map to talk about like poor relations, some orange lines to talk about tense relations. There are definitely places where humans are definitely big old circles and X's, red don't go there signs. We played with some islands, and we have sparked some imagination out of Tom, who's making last minute preparations to give you guys something awesome.
No, so I
You
was having. I didn't think something was possible, and I just found out it was.
Well, we're getting.
I gotta test it more, guys. I gotta test it more.
All right. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We are absolutely getting ahead of ourselves here. One thing at a time. That's, oh my gosh, my phone. Hello, phone. I already got that message, phone.
Perfect.
My phone sometimes decides that it wants to like send me all my updates at once. Like it instead of dinging when things come
You're
through.
supposed to be streaming now.
Right. It actually told me that. It said, "Hey, we're getting your dashboard ready. You can use it on your phone." And a Discord message and an update message and other people are streaming method. And instead of telling me one at a time as these things happen, it's almost like somebody's holding back all these messages going, "Wait for it. Wait for it. Beep." And it's just and it's about as annoying as it sounds. And it makes me think, honestly, it makes me think when it does that something really important is coming across my phone. But when I look at it, it's not even an email. It's not even a message from somebody. It's just, I think it's Twitch. I think Twitch is the big culprit here.
Oh, this is great. So I gotta say, Asgar, if you're a person,
Yeah.
top tier quality.
Asgar.
That's the fantasy map generator we use. It's called Asgar's Fantasy Map Generator.
Okay. All right, so you're learning some new things. All right,
yeah.
What am I seeing? I'm going to go ahead and delete most of the things at episode 11. I'm going back into... What? You can't get my hopes up.
Well, I don't... There was nothing in episode 11.
Well, no, there is. There absolutely is. It's just... It's being weird for me. It's being fucky. I copy and pasted episode 10 into 11. I like to do that so we can review some things.
That's just like how we do our content.
Hey, we copy and paste some things. Oh, So, but before we move on, I'm actually going to take a picture of it or a screenshot of it. Right, because I don't want to mess with it. I want this to be immortalized. So I take a screenshot of the image as we drew on it. Probably a better way to do this, but then I paste it right back in, and I shrink it. Now it's one item, and now I can get rid of the whole thing. It's back on episode 10. I don't have to mess with it. We have the work from last time here. Actually, we had some more work before. I wanted to bring in episode 7, the relationship chart that comes in. These are some good source documents we're creating right now. There we go. Now do you see things on episode 11?
I see one thing on episode 11.
All right, you'll see another one in a moment. It just got tagged in.
I see. Okay.
We're syncing. We are syncing together, ladies and gentlemen. I need like a better, like ladies and gentlemen feels stale. Can I be like
crawdads and craw moms?
Crawdads. Hey, crawdads and craw moms, welcome to the show. Craw ladies, and that looks like a man holding a mace. Like a suit of armor, like the top half of a suit of armor holding a mace and a shield. Like I'm seeing.
I see which one you're looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I didn't get rid of one of them.
Is that so? Are we saying this is a new island?
Here, hold on.
Oh gosh, we're getting. Oh, these are the islands.
Correct.
Oh man, okay. Awesome, guys. Okay, we have.
And then all we gotta do is.
Oh, more islands, guys.
There's 3 of them.
Awesome.
Oh, one of them moved. I drew on it.
I moved it there. Oh, you're trying to get rid of the
Yeah. So one of the things, and this is all a learning process. So it's one of the things that's, it's a great tool. It has a whole bunch of features. And so I was playing around with them. And one of the things that I realized is that every single time you change something with the image, oh my God, there's a name for it. I'm going to forget it. And then everybody in the comments is going to be like, that time is so stupid. It's called this. Why is it called something? The scale bar
right.
Reappears. So essentially I get it to go away by pulling its opacity to 0, and then it poofs, it vanishes. But then, maybe I could try that. Maybe that'll work. Maybe I need to take it a step further, save it, pull it back out. Okay, got it. Something else to try. That's how my brain works.
I'm listening. I'm listening though.
But yes. So then, what we were sort of talking about, and I was like, with this map, it's not called, a fantasy island generator. It's called a fantasy map generator. And the way that's different is 0. And I thought it was called fantasy world generator for a second. And that's where I was going to go with what I was talking about. But now we're sort of stumbling here. But don't worry, about to recover. Okay. It doesn't really work to give a whole bunch of islands like spaced out from one another. Like the most you could do is an archipelago. But all of those islands are really close together, right. Which isn't exactly what we were looking for. So we put our little noggies together, and we started just thinking about, if we just take, instead of these being ginormous continents, which they technically are, they're just tiny islands, right? Because where we drop the player characters, we decide the scale at the end of the day, as long as, we just drop the scale bars off. Right. A couple of things will get a little wonky, but pretty much everything can be resized. The one thing that I was having issue with is I could not figure out how to get the rivers bigger at first, just because that was one of the things that was bothering me. I essentially took all the relief icons and blew those up. So if you see, the mountains are very pronounced, the hills are pronounced, the trees are bigger, just to,
illustrate the scale a little better, because otherwise these rivers would be smaller and they wouldn't seem appropriately sized. Mm-hmm. Right. No. Right. Awesome.
And so then I just figured out how to get the rivers bigger as well. So of course that it has to be done individually by river. But you know what? Not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, so I played around. I found some islands that were a little bit different. You know, that maybe weren't completely all one landmass. You know, I have the one that's there that is, but then I have the other one that there's just a chunk broken off, and the other one where there's, you know, there's more of it's there's a couple there. And so, and before I go and edit them completely and make my life a living hell for no reason, you know, it's always good to check back and to see, you know, exactly what are we looking like, what are we looking for these islands to have, you know, when it comes to, you know, exactly like, are these going to be populated at all? Or is there just going to be, are they just big enough to have one city? Is, you know, when we're looking at the city on the map, like how many, you know, I forget exactly what they call them because it's polygons, I think, because they're not all the same size. But like, is the city, is it just going to be, you know, like a slightly bigger blip than it is on the normal map, or is it going to be this whole chunk? Like, so it's just certain things to talk about and sort of, you know, how to figure out. We can take a look at
that's my favorite chunk.
That's your favorite chunk?
I think,
it's
again,
a good chunk.
This is a suit of armor wielding a mace and a shield. The shield's floating, but he's got a good old grip on that mace. This is going to be named after some kind of warrior who wears armor and carries a mace. Maybe we'll call it Mace Armor Island.
Uncommon came from the artsy country, if you could tell.
So we can do colors on these, right? So these seem to be the islands of the north.
Okay.
If we can just use this as snow, we don't have to do anything else to these images. These are perfect.
Okay. I mean, if you want them to be coated in green, I can absolutely do that in a second as well.
Well, if you look at our map, we have islands up north, and they're perfect for those 3 locations. Now we only need 8 more islands, and we have essentially created our island adventure foundation.
What now? Would you? I mean, would that be then 11 is enough, or like should we have like 20 in the tank?
2 questions. 20 in the tank would be good. Some backup random islands for later. I would want to put some on the map. Can we do our original map with without the border colors and just do like temperature colors? So like snowy, Actun, tropical areas, things like that.
Yeah. Actually, I could probably just rename the map files, save them in different locations, and then have a secret backup location where, in case I accidentally mix the 2 of them up, we don't lose anything.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
But yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
I would love to see. I would love to see this kind of climate captured on our map with, you know, the colors going from.
Okay. And then we can and actually I could do that a whole different bunch of ways. I wonder if there's any way I can hold the lines of the countries in place. If I do that, do the cultures, rearrange the cultures to do what I need to, I might be able to. Yeah, okay.
I don't think we're worried about the cultures. We're just worried about getting a map that has different looks to it.
Correct. And so the culture, because I think we talked about this a little bit ago.
It's the background spreadsheet behind the scenes.
Right.
We only need that for one version.
But we can instead of, we can have all those different versions, keep the same top layer, throw out all the colors, and then have the background layer shine through. And so that way we at least have the color borders, so then we can sort of, you know, figure out exactly, to give us some context.
No, absolutely.
To what's going on.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be something good. We can expect that in the future where we kind of flesh out the maps. We'll get the map problem solved. So right now, a lot of the maps here are for our information. But we do want a stylized map because it's not going to be green, brighter green, you know, orange, pink, yellow. You know, what does this world look like if I'm looking at it from a bird's eye view? What would a map in a scroll case look like, right? How is that detailed out? And we get that with a mix of realistic colors and a mix of, I want to say like scroll
I
colors.
can do it sepia. I can do dingy.
Yep.
I can do
Sepia.
tint.
I like sepia. I like the cultural
Is,
piece.
is it sepia? Is that?
But then we'll just need a couple islands that are, green, and a couple islands that are, barren and green, and I think then we'll be there. We have icy islands. Like these things are fucking frigid. I love it.
Yeah, it's when you remove all the colors.
I don't think, and I want to talk about these for a moment.
Talk about what?
These islands.
Okay.
In the greater detail we talked about before, I don't know if there's a lot of civilization here. This feels like maybe the most southern island has a port, but this is like expeditions and dangerous tribal territory for large creatures. This feels like giants and trolls and the abominable snowmans to me.
Sorry, I'm late, but sepia sounds nice.
Hey, Game Jockey, you're not late. I know you're like dialing in from a phone right now in college. I did yesterday in the game. Players were asking about character races. So right now, Game Jockey, he wants to be. He's a cleric of Krolom. He wants to be a cleric of the god he helped name. And
okay.
So he was a little torn. He's like, but the domains don't quite match up. I'm like, you could always choose somebody else. He says, no, Krolom. I said, all right, that's cool. So he's looking at those domains. And then we had another player who I was like, hey, races. Yeah, let's stick to Player's Handbook for now. If you have something else you want to do, let's talk. And one of our players, she said, well, what about Dark Elf? I said, well...
Is this the one who's currently a Dark Elf?
It's the one who's also currently a Dark Elf.
Okay.
I said, well, they're always difficult to play. And I'd love causing problems with them, like realistic problems they'll have to face. But I wouldn't want that to overpower the narrative. And we didn't put Dark Elves in our world. So I told her if she shows up on stream, and when she can come in and she can help us place Dark Elves in the world, and then we'll talk. I have ideas of where it would be, but I'm going to leave that on that player to come in and help us design some of this world. Give her some.
So where did her love of Dark Elves come from?
I don't know. I have a few. It sounds like she is currently reading through Dritz Duerden, the adventures of a certain Dark Elf who has a great storyline and is a fantastic character. She has played Dark Elves in the past. The one she's playing now, she brought back as another character. So this would, I think, only be the second Dark Elf she's played that I know of. So it's not. I wouldn't call it like an obsession or anything. But hey, we like our races. I like the half elf, right? I like the human. I play a lot of them.
What's my favorite race?
It's the turtle. It is 100% the turtle. See this giggle? This is a loving giggle of the turtle happening here.
Hey guys, do you know turtles are sexually active later in life? I do.
He had to look up. He had to look up mating. Turtle mating.
Well,
he had to have some background. Absolutely.
Right, because it wouldn't make sense. Part of what my character was going to do wouldn't make sense if he wasn't ready to mate.
Are you saying that your turtle's whole backstory concept was, I want to make a horny turtle, and when you looked it up, he had to be old?
Yeah.
No,
that is a reason why my turtle is as old as he is.
So if it had said turtles are only sexually active for the first 4 years of their life, he would have been a young turtle.
Baby turtle, yep. It made that one encounter way scarier when I realized if I failed the roll, I'd just die.
Oh, the one where you aged?
Yeah.
We had an encounter. I forget the specifics, but long story short, if you failed the saving throw, your character was just going to age a number of years. And yeah, you were so old that I guess reasonably you could have died of old age.
Right. So it was like, we're not going to go back there ever.
One of the characters did like age 10 years, and it was like, I'm 30 now.
I want to say it was Branch Hurler or Anka. I don't remember which.
Yeah, it was definitely one of our ladies. One of our ladies. There we go. I was like, I didn't want to say female. That's just weird. Ladies is a perfect way to one of our ladies. All right. So taking a look at the map, taking a look at these islands. Which one of these is the southernmost? Which one has a port?
So, and here's just a quick question: do you want to save the crazy thing for the end, or do you want to do it right now?
No, I mean, we have a topic. As soon as I'm stalling out, throw the crazy.
Okay. So which one is the most southern?
What phone do we
I
have?
would. Which one is the most southern? I would say it's the third one,
Okay. All right.
and then it's got that little point, so it'd be right at the very bottom.
So we have, it kind of looks then like, we go and capture both of these things together so we can move your squiggly. Okay. Did I copy it? I think I just broke the program.
To me, it moved. To me, there's only one of them, and it all moved.
Yep, that's cool. Glad it's doing it for you. I'm closing and I'm opening. So
Hey, everybody! This is brought to you by OneNote,
I have
Microsoft's
yeah,
best program.
it is a great program. Let's let us do this show,
Well, almost as good as Asgard's fantasy map generator.
which we are doing some great work for right now. So something like that, and they actually look like a face. I think it looks like a face in the top left corner there. The way I ended up drawing it,
Okay.
creep me out every
Yes.
time I look at it. Yeah, don't give me a face.
so this is the mouth.
This is the mouth. It is. We're at the mouth.
Or maybe it could be instead of on like the most southern port on like that little tiny island.
You think the island is the best?
Not economically, no, but
Well, it would be whatever's most advantageous, I think, to these dangerous set of islands. So maybe that, because they can secure a small island, they don't have to continually defend against hordes of whatever. Maybe that, yeah. What's that? We'll go with the tiny island. There's a town there. The whole island, most of the island is a town. So we'll go and draw on that map real quick. We're gonna say, a little hut-looking symbol here, and we have a town. It's got a nice little door, a little window.
as towns do.
As towns do. Here we go. We have a town, guys. What do we call this town?
I mean, if you we can call it whatever.
We can call it whatever.
Well, because it does randomly give names now, but we could just rename it.
Well, is there a name on the map already? I don't have any
because
names.
there's no bergs on any of these.
Okay.
There shouldn't be, at least, unless I messed up on my settings.
So, folks, we need a name. I'll give you just a moment to come up with a name. Spookstown it is. Spookstown. Because it looks like a ghost.
I was about to make the joke that so we're just gonna sit here for 30 seconds and then name it ourselves, and then fucking Renoko comes out of nowhere. It's like, don't worry, fam, I got you.
All right, so and I need to make sure, is that spooks isn't a derogatory term for anything, is it?
It is.
It is. All right, so we need to adjust it slightly.
I think.
Yeah, double check. Let's hit the Google. What do you have, Tom? There are similar sounding words I know are, but I thought.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes.
All right, so we're going with Spookstown.
Yes, and so what I will say, Renoko, yeah, Game Jockey has it right. And we'll just leave it in the chat. So I will say Renoko, in America it is, not where you are.
No fault though. We take ideas and we make them magic. That's what we do here.
Mm-hmm. Which actually, and there's even some.
It does look like a scary house. This is a haunted island. It's done.
Oh, interesting. What is?
We have a haunted island named Spookstown.
Oh, that's weird. Because
that?
it also is saying for government agents. Oh, government intelligence agents as well.
Spooks? Yeah, I could see that being like the spooks are listening to us.
Yeah.
The coppers.
But yeah.
All right. All right. So let's draw out a couple more places on here that are of interest. I'm going to say that there is legend of a magical mace in the middle of the mace.
Okay.
Magical mace. And I'm gonna. Hey, this ain't even spoilers. You know it. People know it, but nobody's ever attempted
Dared.
to go to the middle of the mace. Why? I'll list the reasons. Trolls, ogres, and the abominable snow dragon.
Okay. Oh, and ghosts. Yeah.
And ghosts.
Because it's spooky.
It's spooky. This is spooky ice.
Oh man.
All right, we're building a world, and that's good. That's a good theme. That's a good little bit of randomness thrown into the world. It's like the Mount Everest of adventures, right? It can be climbed, but what's it worth? You maybe wander around in an icy circle for a long time. Maybe not. Find a mace. Maybe just
who
really
knows?
cold.
Maybe somebody already has it, right? And that's like they left a note that says, haha.
Right. It says Shazam proof was here.
Oh, Shazam proof. Yes, exactly. Viking ghost.
All right, Viking ghosts. Now they got to be more like barbarian ghosts.
True.
Because that's as close as we get to Vikings without sealing.
It works with the D&D, yeah.
Yep. We're going to go with ice trolls. They're going to be 4 times susceptible to fire. I don't need to write that down, but ice trolls. And then jelly ogres.
Wait, what kind of ogres? Jelly ogres?
Jelly. I put jelly.
Okay, that is what you said.
I did say jelly ogres. So jelly ogres, in the southern countries where it's warmer, are gelatinous in nature, magically constructed gelatinous ogres. We got rid of them
because they're jelly. Okay,
because they're jelly, and maybe they reproduced. Maybe they reproduced. They reproduced in a fashion where if you cut one, they become 2.
Okay.
So the best we could do is move them to the colder climates where they became slower and methodical, but they've evolved. And now they're just ice jelly ogres.
They sound delicious.
You
They're the least threatening thing on the island.
The least threatening thing on the island. Magical mace. You know what? What's a good magical mace name, guys?
How about why not Renoko's
Renokian.
I don't want to say
Renokian mace. The Mace of Scrats.
The Mace of Scrats.
I'm gonna Nether Mace. Got it. Nether Mace. Based off of a fantastic spell in Minion Masters that we've come to enjoy.
What spell?
It's Nether Step. It teleports. It's we can call it the Nether Step Mace.
Okay.
There's a D&D name for that though. Ethereal.
Well, does the name have to exactly match? Like it's not like they all name their swords. This is the magical sword of +1.
Right. That's fair. You already have all the new season cards. Honoko, you're gonna have to tell me how you did that, because I haven't opened up my tokens yet, but I did go in and get the season pass and buy some stuff. What did you do to get the new season cards? Did you just get really lucky? So this legendary mace.
Renoko is actually a developer. He's been a developer this whole time.
Right.
He had 9K of shards.
Oh, okay. So he just made them all work. Wait. 9K of shards makes a card. It's like 4,000 for a card. That seems like a lot. We're gonna call it the Ethereal Mace of ? I can't take Scrats, right? But we're gonna leave question mark. That's the mystery of what. We don't know what about it. Got lucky on some tokens. Fair enough.
Maybe people don't know. Maybe that was lost. Like,
Not everything is known. Not everything is known. And seeking it actively would be against the law because it's arcane.
true, it is. Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I make them all the time. Welcome to the show.
So there's no magical. Are there any divine?
So I would
Magical
imagine
items?
there's probably a process of destroying magical artifacts that are weak enough to be destroyed. There's probably a vaulted collection of magical artifacts that are too strong to be destroyed. Seeking them, if you're not one of the probably one of those mage hunters, probably one of their jobs is going to be illegal, so it doesn't happen often, and it's got to be in secret. There's probably a person in Spokestown, an agent whose entire job is to listen for adventurers trying to hunt down things like the magical mace, because there aren't a lot of expeditions up here. This is probably going to be a land of a lot of magical items because the mage hunters can't afford to send expeditions up here to retrieve them all to destroy them.
But also, like, are there any will there be any magical swords?
And again, I think it's maybe, but
Well, no, I mean, like, for that are good because they're divine in nature. Like, can a sword in D&D, can a sword be divine?
oh, can a sword be divine?
Like,
Yeah, that's a good question. I think so.
and if not, we can just say that there is because it's our goddamn world.
There are magical
And
items
yes, we
that
do
have
know.
arcane
No,
effects, and there are magical items that have divine effects, so probably both. So we got some lucky tokens, got a legendary ethereal mace of the forgotten frozen scrats. Dude, did you know? I did know. Yeah, we played how much of that did we play?
0. We played the first one. I haven't bought the second one
We
yet.
haven't bought the second one.
Because that's a game I quote unquote play with my girlfriend, and we haven't played it in over a year.
four player game. D&D day. That's all I'm saying. We're not playing D&D anymore because nobody stepped up to schedule it. That's on me.
Wait. I mean, honestly, we would need more copies, and I don't know if Antonia's laptop could run it.
Right.
She's really bad at video games.
You can control two
But-
characters on one computer.
Oh yeah, we could do that. We could just
Yeah.
do it that way.
Yeah.
That actually might be really fucking cool.
The four of us playing together.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brady would really love that. We'll talk about it
Okay.
afterwards.
Absolutely.
All right, the second one has a GM game mode. Yep, there are divine maces and axes, and then there's the Holy Avenger, where you create an adventure just like that. Okay. I will look into.
I just want to let you know I'm being invited to playing Apex Legends right now, and I'm declining it.
Have you played much of that?
Yeah.
Outside of me and you.
No. On a project.
All right, so we're getting a little off topic here, so we do try to steer it right back in. We love these side conversations.
Well, because we didn't do our 15 minutes.
We didn't do our 15 minutes. It's in our systems. I tried, and it didn't work because you got really excited about some things, and we had to talk about them. But yes, we do other things. What did you do? What did you do this weekend, Tom? Because I know what I did, and I can talk about it.
I play. I went to a party.
Mm-hmm.
I played video games that I want to play, which, if you're friends with Casey, doesn't happen too often.
Well, what'd you play, Tom?
And I played Jurassic World.
Oh, awesome! I still could have sat and hung out with you and listened to you play Jurassic World.
Yeah, but then what usually ends up happening is people then go, "Hey, Tom, play this instead."
Well, everybody loves spending time with Tom. It's hard to get his attention. We are very fortunate on this show to get an hour of his time each week. He is very busy.
I did something on Friday though, and I don't remember what that was.
I know I dived into Final Fantasy 14 and a little bit of Anthem.
Oh yeah, that's right. I still need to scold you for that.
I spent $15 on the Origin. I haven't bought it. I have the Origin Premier Pack, and it just comes with Anthem. It's the only way you have bought it, and I played it for about 4 hours on Monday.
See, this is where Casey finds a workaround. He's like, I didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it. You said
I just happened to buy something that came with it. So everybody was telling me not to buy it. I did what they said. So fuck you. And I didn't.
It's all about that Mini Masters grind. I could not buy the game. I can't spend that much time on it. I want to wait for the moment where a bunch of you are like, let's play Anthem. It sounds like fun. And then I'll be like, all right, fucking, let's go. Game on. Let's get into it.
And you're like magically level 150. You're like, yeah, I bought this character like this. Who would have thought?
Nope, I fucked up. I played it. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so, yes. All right. Magical Mace, Spokestown, Ethereal Mace of question mark. Probably small rat-like creatures who explode on contact.
Of small rat-like creatures.
Exploding rats. Ethereal Mace of exploding rats.
Are there? No. Well, what's on this third island? Like, what's the big thing that's known for the third island?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move the Barbarian Ghosts down to the first island. I'm going to give that a list item. Ice Trolls, Jelly Ogres, and Abominable Snow Dragons. Probably makes this one the most dangerous of islands. All of these are going to have dangerous things and magical magical artifacts in them. So I'm just going to write, magical artifacts right here. But now we need something else that is a threat, is dangerous, that lives on here.
What about those dwarves? The underground dwarves that are evil.
Duergar. Ooh, so underground. This is probably the underground races then.
Because there's like a giant mountainy patch that just sort of came with this island.
Yeah, Duergar. I like it. Duergar. There it is. Duergar. Probably some
pretty
deep gnomes.
Silly overall.
Dark elves. So we put them in there anyway. There is going to be civilization here then. It's just going to be underground where it's the temperature's not, the elements are not as much of an effect. Vast networks of tunnels and probably this would be, if you don't know anything about the Underdark, it's essentially the whole world is a whole nother level, dozens of miles below that just houses cave dwelling races, and it covers the entire world in cave systems and tunnels. And that's the Faerun version of it. So that makes sense. Just heavily populated here. Where there's Duergar, there's Illithids. Okay, I like it. Got that knowledge, Illithids. Yeah, I think that's a good way to go there. And then the surface of it, snowy tundra, just vast snowy tundra. And maybe that's known and it's avoided. Good reason to start visiting these islands, though. Barbarian Ghosts. Fuck, that sounds like a great adventure. You get to the mountains. You get to Spokestown, and it's just a bunch of old adventurers who settle down to sell wares and services to other brave adventurers. Old adventuring merchants. Because no one's coming up here. No one's just gonna come up here to make money. No one's gonna spend. You
gotta be a little sick in the head.
You gotta be a little sick in the head. You maybe spend 3 months and nobody buys anything, but then suddenly some level 15 adventurers show up and they're like, "We need that mace," and you're like, "I fucking have a mace. It's expensive though. I have 6 months of back taxes to pay, and things are just expensive." You want an M? That'll be 5 platinum, please.
That's the. I mean, honestly, supply and demand.
Yeah, old adventuring merchants. Not making money often, making lots rarely on supply and demand. Yeah, I think that's about all that comes up here. Probably a lot of explorers, maybe even the mage hunters probably come up here every once in a while. Maybe in this island, the most temperate of them, to try to weed out certain rumors and artifacts and adventurers. And I imagine these old adventuring merchants are enough to keep them in line, make them so they're
Keep
not
who in
bullying.
line?
Like, yeah, they're not bullying their way for cheaper prices.
Who's bullying who?
Mage hunters. Like, I picture mage hunters as bad people. And if they had come into town, like, in the end, it costs 5 platinum a night. You know, if you're powerful enough, you're like, fuck you, I'm going to take the room. But maybe older
I
entering
see.
merchants have
Yeah.
things,
True.
protections.
But I would assume, the mage hunters might, also, pay a little bit of good coin for some information. So if there's,
Relationships.
if there's a mage staying up in the room, you
Okay.
know,
You still have to be careful because money is money.
right? They have morals, but at the end of the day,
Right.
gotta eat.
Gotta eat. The mage hunter. Do we have a name for the mage hunters? Have we given them
No,
names? We should. Because they
in
did something
those
cool.
few. I don't know. That was the first thing that came.
I like the few.
Yeah.
The few. We call them Inlos few.
Yeah, and then if we can adjust it if need be.
The IF.
The IF. Oh man, imagine it. They're on in mornings, and it's just 4 middle-aged female mage hunters talking about politics and the world.
Oh man.
They have a TV show, and it's called The Few.
I don't even know if that's a joke our audience gets. The few. You motherfucker.
But yeah, so
Talking about the view, I don't know much about these women. Did they ever live normal lives, or were they celebrities?
I think they're celebrity-ish. Like, I know John McCain's daughter is one of them. I think like Whoopi Goldberg was one
for a while.
Like, I don't think that it's just like Mary, who works down at the local real estate office. Like,
Sure.
I don't think.
Yeah, Tom is in the process of being canceled, but just not enough subscriptions for me to pay off his contract.
Oh yeah.
Is really the problem here. He's got a hefty contract. Those Twitch Prime subs really have to come in to start.
It's funny. I thought you would have liked that joke, Game Jockey.
That was a running joke. That was the joke we talked about yesterday at D&D, is how you guys you got canceled because of the Twitch subs.
I've made it. I've made it into another D&D night.
Boom. All right. So, we have the islands. We have some stuff going on the islands. We don't have to explore too deep. We start to get into.
Here. Well, I want to know some things.
What's the goal, Game
Jockey?
I believe you have friends. With the goal for getting Tom canceled, I will do an episode without Tom. If we can get 20 subs. If we can get to 20 subs, I will do an episode without Tom. And I will belittle and berate Tom the entire time while he's forced to watch and listen in the background.
20 subs I feel is like achievable, and so kind of
worried.
I'm kind of hurt by this. It's like when you do that cute game with your girlfriend,
right?
And it's like
the one
who would you fucking be okay with? It's
yeah.
like Will Smith or like Halle Berry, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna fuck our next door neighbor, and you're like, oh, he's really hot. That's. I don't have that many friends.
I wanted to make it a realistic but achievable number, Tom.
Where Game Jockey, like, where D&D night comes, he's like, I can't. I gotta go to the bar. I gotta talk to people. I gotta make friendships.
He's like going out to have a social life for the sole intent of conning
and then it's like 3 years later, and we're like, hey, Game Jockey, and he's like, who are you? What's D&D? No, I'm just gonna play ball with my bros. And it's like, oh no, we lost one.
We lost one to social activities.
Are there like are the rivers frozen?
maybe at the most northern region we have frozen waterfalls, and as you go down, you have frozen rivers, and then you have running rivers.
Okay. I'm assuming there are
Seasons help.
trees.
Evergreens.
Yeah,
Anything else dies.
Trees, tress. Yes. And any. I would assume like there's like elk, maybe like
Okay.
something to hunt.
Yeah, sure. Polar
Like,
bears.
Elk. I guess and like so yeah, like polar
You got to have a whole
bears,
cycle of
but mostly fish.
fish. Yeah, I think fish. Bears,
Fish, seals.
Yeah, this is the yeah, absolutely. North, and we're doing more drastic temperature changes here than we would experience in our own places. So thinking like, northern Alaska.
Yeah.
At the worst of it, I think. I don't know if there's no North Pole at the moment. This is as north as our thing gets, and the equator is near the bottom of our continents. We talked about that line last time.
Yeah.
Being right about right about there. Okay. All right, yeah, that's cool. I think we have a little bit of economy. We have a little bit, and if you had drawn these as green islands, we'd have had a completely different conversation.
The only reason that happened is because it's the neutral color of everything.
Yeah, that's fine, and I like these pictures. We don't need to remake them. This is it. Those are pictures. Well, maybe one of them, because the magical mace, the Mace Armor Island, is cut off a little bit. The on the right side with the
I should be able to fix that. I'm hoping.
All right. So
I still have. I don't just have PNGs. I have the actual map files as well.
Okay, fair enough. All right. What was your exciting thing? Tom had a really exciting in the beginning of the episode. We did not get into our 15 minutes of chatter because Tom got super excited about something, and I've been on the edge of my seat.
Okay, well, you shouldn't be, because
I'm gonna press the button real quick. Just let the fleets do their work, because Tom has got us, ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna throw down with the most exciting news of the hour.
So just remember.
Oh, the flute's still going. You might want to just let this play out. Okay, you're good.
So one of the things that is always very important, and Casey talked about it a whole bunch, is never getting attached to your own ideas.
Yes.
Or to your
world.
Yeah. And so while I was making these islands, now this isn't perfect, because I will say, I didn't draw this up like like line by line. It's perfectly exactly how I want it. But as I was going through the maps, I kind of just saw something and played around with it a little bit more. And so it should, okay, you blew it up. You found it. So what I did is I quickly, I saw this island, and I kind of was like, oh, this kind of looks like ours. And then I just was looking at it a little bit. I was like, okay, this has some cool things that, could maybe play a little bit better into what we were looking at. And so I just sort of started to get to coloring. And of course, like, certain things are a little bit changed a little bit, but the overall feel, is still there. A lot of like, I kind of drew our story onto another map a little bit.
Sure.
Where you still have Krolome in the middle, and instead of there being a land bridge, there's, it's completely open, but there is like that island in there where, there could be something, and they sort of control all of that traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Loros and Ektun sort of battling out on their side. I did make a couple things a little bit more pronounced, and just like first very initial drawings, is like Robad, his country's a little bit smaller, and there is that that flank that sort of sticks out there that is, Ektoon's sort of like just run over, he doesn't really care that that's Robads and just uses it as another plane to attack Loro-san. There's extra islands on this map, so you sort of had, there's more things that are actually on the map for, potential like Santalus's creatures. You had this weird chunk that potentially De Minimo or Inlo could live off of. That wasn't really, we didn't have available to us before. And, it's not like I'm like, Casey, we gotta change everything, bro. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to play around with this a little bit. Okay. And this is what I did for a second.
Right.
And I actually did this before I went out to eat tonight. I colored it.
There's a story. I like it. I do. Mm-hmm. And there's either a story with the islands or we turn it. And I like it. I'm a fan of going forward because it accomplishes some of the things we're trying to do more organically. Mm-hmm. Like De Minimo's island is more isolated, or his land is more like an island. Hell, if it was an island, it'd be perfect. Krolom, I like the split in the middle. The only thing that sticks out that would require a story for me is Santalus's islands.
Okay.
I like Inlo being isolated like that. Love
okay. It. My original thought behind that is, quote unquote, those are Santalus's islands, but there's nothing there other than creatures that were even way too dangerous for like Santalus was like, oh, okay, this is getting a little bit too out of hand. Let's put you there.
Okay. All right. And, I even say maybe these were Krolom's islands at one point, but something was created that needed to be dumped, and Krolom helped. And then it was one island, and then it just bred and expanded, and it took over the other islands that Krolom was trying to hold down. And now that one island, that one tiny island to the north, is something of a bastion, a stronghold against whatever it is that's there. And I like it. Asmodean says it's bred. The yeast is out of control. I don't know if I can turn it's bred. Oh, are you talking about it was breeding, or it's physically a loaf of bread?
Specifically, pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel bread. Yeah, okay. No, I like this. And you bring up, it's a very good point I made long back and before we even started the show. Because I'll tell you, this is some real Dungeons and Dragons knowledge right here for all the dungeon masters. When you sit down and you start spending time building a world, like we're doing here, you get really involved and really deep into it. And not just don't get so attached you can't change things, because whatever. Maybe you get so attached you change nothing. But don't get so attached that your players have to hear every bit of lore that you've come up with at every opportunity. Because they're not here to play your creation. They're here to play their game with their characters and experience the world in a normal, evolving fashion. I have played with DMs who do lore dumps. Every time you run into something, they're like, well, back in the 1900s, the Krolom was maneuvering through the territories and found that Santalus had dumped off a creature. And you don't need to know that until you need to know that.
Right.
So that's that's a little piece of advice, just kind of going back and hitting on the hot spot. But the other one was when we started, Tom was showing signs of drastically having one immovable idea. He had this brilliant idea, but it was immovable, it was inflexible. And I got to say, Tom, I really like where you've progressed as a creator and a writer. You're flowing with things. It's good.
I'll work it back in there somehow.
I just think we have a better product because you became you became a little more flexible, and now we have something of our own. Neither one of us could claim this was our unique creation. This does not happen without the two of us. It doesn't.
Not wrong.
That's pretty heartfelt and warm, and I'm feeling very fuzzy about it. And I've only had some Coke Zero today.
Oh, and as Modian, you're gonna have to fight Tech. But yeah, so I would, and I guess sort of how I, picture at least, you know, at least for a little bit, not lose the sight of one map over another.
Sure.
And sort of, potentially, yeah, at least
Tom.
be like, where would this work in the other map, or
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom. What's on the other side of the planet?
You're not wrong.
I don't know which one.
You're not wrong.
So central idea here. Change a couple, like pull out the name. Let's take one of these maps for next week. Take one of these maps, your choice. One of the maps we've already created, your choice. And let's pull out the 3 gods that are new and put in blank spaces, or start with give us a name. And let's see how that plays out. Let's play out the destruction of the first world to see how we ended up here. And I think that shapes the relationships, that shapes hostilities, future plans and attitudes of gods. And I think that's a good direction moving forward.
Okay.
Game Jockey says, "Hey DMs, can part of my background be I served under the Siren?" Part of your background definitely can be a sailor. It can levels of serving under the Siren we could talk about. If the Siren's the Admiral, all sailors in Krolom's army, all clerics in a Krolom's army serve under the Admiral. How close and personal you want to be? I don't know. We'll see. We can talk about that. We could definitely expand upon that in future episodes, but I think we're wrapping up to a nice conclusion point, Dom. Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen,
Hold on, I'm typing something.
We're looking at stuff. Okay, zoom back out.
Discord. No, Discord.
Oh, Discord. So, what we've talked about today was we went over the 3 islands. We talked about some map creation tools. But we went over these 3 islands. And we went over these 3 islands. We got into some detail about what they exist and what's on them. We talked about Spokestown and some merchants, barbarian ghosts, ogre jellies. We came up with some cool concepts for some creatures that I'm going to love exploring when it comes time. I've been doing a little bit of free form monster creation lately myself, basing it off some models that already exist, so you're not worried about the power. We saw this brand new island here that we're going to explore the concept of in the future, and it looks like next week we're going to dive in to the destruction of the original world. What we're going to do, we're going to close this up, but we're going to stay live. Hang on after the show. We'll talk right after things close out. Tom, anything you want to say?
No. I think for those of you super excited for next week, I don't think it's going to be a day by day detailed dive, but there will definitely be some general overview.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Who even knows, right? Maybe
I barely know from episode to episode. Tom, let's be real.
There's so much. There's so many interesting things we could do.
There's a lot. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Uncommon. This is Shazam Poof. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
The greater Ur detail.
I did. The title of this episode was The Greater Ur Details because I didn't have one. I'll figure it out when I put it to YouTube. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come join us, Delving in Deep, episode 12 next week. You guys are fantastic. We're going to play ourselves out with some flutes. Stay tuned for what's next. Wait, I got to actually double flute. Wait. There we go.